He clearly doesn't think it's a sex cult. He thinks it's people that would be amenable to him showing up. He goes in this moment of loneliness, and as soon as he shows up, they are fawning of calling him greater. And there's all these
Kneeling,
depictions on the wall
bowing.
of just sex acts. Welcome to Romance Unzipped, your happily ever after book club.
Hi, I'm Annie.
I'm Holly.
This is Romance Unzipped. Today we are talking about...
Berries and Gried by Lily Mayne.
Yes, it's a monster romance.
This is male-female. We follow Beryl and Gried. Beryl is a human woman who's lived in a cult her whole life. That is, the cult members worship the species that Gried is.
It's called demi-guru. So it's like
Demiurgus?
It's like a mishmash of guru at the end. So it's like, I felt a little cheeky wink about the whole concept of a guru. I don't know. Maybe I was just late nights overthinking.
So he is a socially awkward, kind of isolated monster creature. They live among the humans, and he's looking for friendship, and she doesn't quite know it, but she's looking for a way out of the cult. And that's how they meet each other.
Yeah, and so it's a present tense, not too far off reality. It looks like where we live, except for there happen to be this species that came from below the earth and are kind of greater in all things. And the cult she's in is called the Order of Greater Beings. So they're big fans.
The setting for most of the book is in the city where Gried lives. And it's kind of a hip neighborhood. The well-to-do of his species live around there. There are some humans, but not that many. And Beryl becomes his roommate. So then she gets thrust into real life and not living in this compound up on the hill in the cult.
And let it be said, this is very small town, cozy, low angst. I mean, it's in a city, but it feels like small town. It is so low angst, and it is very long.
This is a long book. So as for tropes, we were discussing it. It's almost just like a slice of life book. You're just kind of hanging out with them and reading about what it's like to be roommates and what it's like to live in this world. So in terms of world building, it's pretty big. This is not a book that's big on plot.
It's like having a podcast that you listen to mostly for the people to talk to each other. Like there's not a massive purpose to each episode, but it's just like they're charming and entertaining and it's low stakes and the world's stressful and you can just go like put on your onesie and listen to these two.
Very low stakes. And if you're into monster romance and monster sex, Lily Mayne is a very prolific author in that space.
Yeah.
And the spice level for the first half of the book, it's just a very slow burn between the two of them, roommates to lovers.
Yeah.
But then the second half of the book, there's a lot. I would call this a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, it's late in life steam. And it's hot. Like the rest of the book, you wouldn't kind of think it when you start reading it. I mean, they're immediately attracted to one another, but it's not this kind of like sexy, steamy tone. But then Lily Mayne, how she writes sex scenes, they're kind of playful, but they're still hot. And sometimes on this podcast, we'll talk about like, oh, it just felt playful or whatever. And that it to me isn't evocative of like steamy good times. And this, she kind of marries them, which is quite the skill, Lily. Good job.
Good job.
I had read one other Lily Mayne book like 2 years ago, and it's called Impromptu Match. And it is just much faster paced, and it's male, and that one's fun too. So if you don't want to commit to a longer book, but you want to check out Lily Mayne, that's a good one.
Great. So to talk a little bit more about these characters, Beryl is interesting.
Yeah, she has orange hair,
She does. I think that just means red hair.
But they say like bright orange.
Yeah, he said bright orange.
Yeah.
She's got green eyes, pale skin, freckles. She seems like a kind of classic redhead features on her.
But orange
hair.
Yeah, and she's 5'5", and she's 35, which is also interesting. And she's kind of an ingenue, like a stranger in a strange land because
she's been in this cult. So her parents were shitbags and abandoned her.
That's a clinical term.
Yes. When she was 10 years old. And so her dad just drove her up to this sex cult and dropped her off like at the front door because she had a relative.
Because that's safer than the fire station.
Right. So they took her in and she lived there, and she didn't have any kind of sex abuse. Like, even though the whole
No.
point of this cult was to worship the sexuality of this other species.
I felt like sex cult was actually a little bit of a misnomer.
Yeah, they weren't really doing sex things with each other.
No, and we can dive into that later, but I was like, this isn't actually a sex cult.
It's just the way they were worshiping these greater beings was, I want to become their mate and I want them to have sex with me.
Right. So it is a sex cult, but in the context
the
of
goal.
what you think of when you think of the word sex
Yes.
cult, it's not that.
No. So it was an inappropriate place for a child to grow up, I would say, but they weren't
It's not
abusing
dangerous.
her.
No.
They weren't dangerous. The whole point is they're trying to make themselves the perfect mate in case one of these demiurgus monsters shows up.
Yes. And I have a lot of thoughts on this. So when we talk more about like plot details later, I'll get into it. But I thought it was like a little bit of commentary, social commentary from Lily Mayne. So we'll investigate, see what you think.
Okay, that could be.
So tell me about our fella, our monster man.
Gried. So he is a loser in terms of how he reports himself.
Self-described.
Yes, self-described. He's got low self-esteem. He's a social outcast.
He's so
kind of
lovable.
awkward. But he went through some kind of social trauma and he hasn't recovered from it yet. So he was with a girlfriend. He has a job.
She's a mean bitch, and that also is a clinical term?
Yes, she is a mean bitch. And so he opens up to her and says, oh, well, I'm submissive. And I think sexually. And I think he told her too that he wants to be pegged. I think he said that out loud to her.
Yeah. And he kind of likes her to tell him what to do. And so she takes advantage of it.
And she hated that about him and shamed him for it. So he's got all this internal shame about how he shouldn't be this way. And there's some context that within this species, their mating and their sex is like fighting. They're like each other.
Yeah. They're like the ultimate alphas. So think of like shifter romances if you've never read a monster romance. And so all the shifters are they're wolves, they're alphas, they're strong, and they are ready to fight. And so his kind is like that. They're these like kind of all-powerful beings, and he's like, I just want to be snuggled.
Yeah, and he's more of a snuggly guy.
Just fuck me in the butt.
And then he wants everything submissive.
Tell me what to
standpoint. And at one point, Beryl is watching porn from this species to try to learn more about him, and she can't even find any kind of, like, she's got the internet at her disposal and she can't find his species being submissive sexually. So it's an unusual trait that he has, and his girlfriend shames him for it, and they break up and she moves out, and then she tells his entire social network, like, oh, listen to what a weirdo he is. So he's been ostracized because of it, and he feels a lot of shame. She was a
bully, like hardcore.
She was.
I like, it's not even bully, that's just like aggressive mean. Yeah, when you, like, is it libel or slander? I don't know. When you tear somebody down.
Right.
It's more like, scratch my alpha comment about wolves. It's like crocodiles. They have a very specific role in the apex predator world.
And are you talking about shifter romances right now? Or just
no, but there's, oh my God, there's a whole world of crocodile romance. Just conceptually crocodiles. And then people are like, this crocodile is my pet. And it just wants to snuggle and I'm going to sleep it in my bed. And everyone's like, yeah, that's not real.
So my theory in life is I'm terrified of any animals that haven't evolved much over the last like 100 million years because they have it so good. So like crocodiles, sharks, anything that's been around for a really long time.
They're like, we're killing it.
Yeah.
Literally.
But we don't need to evolve. No, thank you.
We don't need to evolve. I'm fine.
Anyway, going back to Gried. So he doesn't fit in with his kind at all. And he seems like he could have just moved. It's not like they're in some society where he can't ever get a fresh start, but he's sort of stuck.
Yeah. And he has social anxiety. He has an anxiety disorder and he's an introvert. And so he doesn't like to be around people. So he struggles with rumination, obsessive thinking. So there's all of those parts. And then everything
and he finally had a social network that took a long time to establish.
But they were fakies.
Now it's gone. So I think he's just so overwhelmed with the thought of trying to make new friends, but he's lonely.
Yeah.
So he's heard rumors of this place on the hill,
these
weirdos.
They got nothing better to do.
Really know what it is. I think they say in the book, no demiurgus has visited the cult in 40 years.
Because it's not cool.
Right. So it's all kind of mysterious. And he clearly doesn't think it's literally a sex cult. He just thinks it's people that kind of would be amenable to him showing up. So he goes there in this moment of loneliness and weakness and curiosity. And as soon as he shows up, they are fawning over him, calling him greater.
Yeah.
Um, and there's like all these
Kneeling,
depictions on the wall
bowing.
of just sex acts. And he keeps looking at him. He's like, well, that's not even anatomically correct. Like, have these people ever even seen?
My dong is way bigger.
It's way bigger and it's got barbs on it and it would kill a woman if I ever penetrated her. So
Yeah, it's not just like a will it fit trope. It's like a is she
murder.
ready to die?
Yeah. So he's very confused and then starts getting panicky. He's like, oh man, this was a mistake. I don't want to be here. But at this point, they're all like, he's stuck. Like, they're like, oh, let me show you around. We built this whole compound just for you and your kind.
Just
We have
for you. We've
we
been
have a
waiting for
bedroom
you.
ready for you. The bed's made and we clean it every day just in case. And they like lead him outside of the courtyard and all the members of this cult are all lined up and they're all wearing matching beige outfits and they're all standing there
Oh,
like
beige is such a thing.
completely salivating over him, hoping, oh, please pick me.
Yeah. So, and they made him like a crib, like this black marble, huge palace place for when they receive these people. And it's kind of like it's like people who are prepping for Armageddon in a specific religion, but then Armageddon date always changes where they're like, this is it. Everybody get ready.
Kind of like that.
And then it doesn't come. So everyone's just been kind of in this, they're getting edged, basically. Oh,
You know, speaking of getting edged, that definitely is a trope in this book.
he loves it.
They both their sexual dynamic is a huge part of the second half of the book.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So Gried shows up to this place. He's second guessing himself immediately.
Oh yeah.
And that's when he sees Beryl. So we say that she's been at this cult since she was 10. The first chapter is her point of view. Immediately we see from her that she doesn't really belong here. She doesn't believe what they believe. She's comfortable. Well, she's here. She doesn't have to pay rent and she's got a job working at the vineyard at this place.
But it's not kind of like conscripted labor. Like it's they have a nice life. They're fed
It's
well.
a comfortable, nice life. And
it's just weird.
Has been here since she was 10 and she doesn't know anything else. And she kind of admits to herself, like, I can't believe I've been here for 25 years. What am I doing? But also,
what else would
I do when I'm safe here?
Yeah.
But she has never been there because she believes what everyone else believes.
Yeah, it's just circumstance. And so then enter Gried, and it's Gried, and then her name is Beryl, but then they have their little nicknames, they're related to sex. They're sex nicknames. But so he enters the book like in his suit, coming in to meet a friend. And his thought process is this whole kind of like opulence is offered to him on a platter. Like the high priest is kneeling before him. Everyone's kowtowing. They're just like, we're so honored. It's incredible. And
get tears in their eyes.
Yeah, they're like,
this is so overwhelmed.
It's never happened since in 40 years. Like, because they were like, we're not going to go to the nerd box. So they're like treating him like a king. And this is such a great way that Lily Mayne used this device to show his deep insecurity, because instead of being like, I might have sex with a handful of concubines while I'm here, or like relax in this palace for a bit, or just like let them treat me, he's like, oh, they would never say these things to me if they knew like what a loser I really am. All I do is smoke pot and watch TV. I'm the worst. And then he starts like sweating and he's like, oh my God, this total imposter syndrome, because he's not what everyone thinks he's supposed to be. So it's a beautiful little setup of him entering this concept of who he is, but he's definitely not. And then he doesn't know what to do. They're trying to push some lady on him, and he sees Beryl, who's looking askance at the whole dog and pony,
scowling at him, because in her it's a dual point of view, and in this scene, in her point of view, she is thinking, what a perv. I can't believe he actually showed up and he's just gonna take some woman and just go basically kidnap her. Although they all have agency and they can all leave whenever they want there. So it's not really about kidnapping, but she does still feel like it's taking advantage of people who are misguided. Yeah. So she's not impressed that he would show up. Like, what kind of asshole would come here looking for a woman like this.
Yeah, it's
So she's like snarling at him.
yeah, side eye across the courtyard, and he feels this thing, and unlike his normal character, he acts out and asks for something. He says, "I want her,"
Her.
and he points at her, and she's like, "Oh
She's like,
shit!"
"Oh." So they go into this back room and she's kind of scheming, okay, how am I going to get out of this? And he's scheming, oh God, how am I going to get out of it? And then once they talk, it becomes quickly apparent that no, neither of them are in this for the sex. It's circumstantial. They both kind of came to this from a weird separate place. And it would be mutually beneficial for them if she leaves the cult, becomes a roommate of his, and moves in with him. Because then he's got a friend and she has a chance to
A
live
lot.
a life, a launch pad.
And the reason that she even cares is because her aunt, Violet, is the person that took her in at this place. Kind of reminds me of like a monastery, and everyone's waiting for God. And the aunt also is not a believer. But so she doesn't want to out the aunt because most people would be like, "Oh my God."
Yeah, just falling down, crying, so happy, speaking in tongues type
Yeah,
thing.
totally. And so she's like, if I don't leave with him, then people look suspiciously at us, and I will totally like
I'll blow up
uproot
her life.
Yeah, so she's taking it for the team, but not in a way at all that is like there's no kind of
There's no
non-consensual.
coercion ever from anyone in this book.
No.
They always have full agency. It's
Yeah.
just a strange setup. I loved the first few chapters. I
Yeah,
thought the
they were
setup was so good. It was
It's
so
so good.
unusual, and they both put themselves in this weird situation, but it just made sense reading it.
And their inner voices are funny. They're both like at different points in the first couple chapters. They're both like, no fucking way.
Yeah.
And so you're like, oh, this is going to be funny. And then you are invited into their day-to-day life.
Right. So then, and it's a long book. So for the first half of the
600
book,
pages.
once you get through this initial kind of exciting setup that
Of like
pushes them
80
together.
pages.
Yeah, probably. It takes some time to do all this. And there's some world building. I love world building. And then you really are just invited into their life. It's a slice of life book. And you're just hanging out with them at home.
Yeah.
They are watching TV together. Lily Mayne describes a couple of TV shows in detail that Gried likes to watch.
They wear blankies on the couch together.
Yeah, come get another blanket. Oh, let's come into this little nest. A lot of talk about what they eat. Like they're ordering food on the app.
Burgers.
But what's interesting about it is, so Beryl is 35 years old, but she acts like, and even sometimes in her mentality, I thought the point of view did this pretty well. She acts so immature at times because her whole life, well, since she was 10, her whole life that she can really remember, she's been in this cult and she's never had caffeine or coffee or alcohol.
Familiar?
She's never picked her own food. So they try to make, in the cult, they try to make themselves so valuable so they could be picked as a mate. So they do take care of their body, and there's healthy food every night. So she had good food that was healthy, but every night somebody else would decide, oh, you're going to have rice and salmon and broccoli.
Yeah.
And every day they had to exercise just to keep themselves like physically fit enough that they were worthy of being a mate.
Yeah.
So that's been her whole life. So she gets to Gried's house and he's like, oh, what do you want to eat? And she's like, well, I've heard of a hamburger before. Like, could I try that? And he's like, you ever had a hamburger? One of Beryl's.
That makes him angry.
But it also like almost kind of turned him on. He's like, okay, I can, let me show
like,
you.
Teach me kink, but
Yes.
for stoners snacks.
Yes, because he is a stoner.
He loves to snack.
And he loves to eat. And he's got this voracious appetite. And the whole book long, every time they do anything, he usually orders like 3 different meals and it's all spread out. And he's like, I'm going to have a pizza, and then I'm going to have a sub, and then I'm going to have a burger. Which was, I mean, a little weird. It happens a lot. There's a lot of, if you like reading about food delivery, boy.
Made not boring somehow.
Yeah. So it's kind of charming.
So there's a lot of slice of life, and it's relaxing because the world's overwhelming. So if you just want to hang out with some nice people who wear onesies, this is a good 300 pages. And then they start to escalate.
Yes. So eventually their relationship becomes physical. And the whole time you're seeing from both their points of view. They both are attracted to each other and they want more, but they both feel like it would be almost unfair to the other to admit their attraction because they're kind of stuck in this roommate situation that they both agreed was going to be platonic.
Ah.
But eventually she can't help it anymore.
And they're falling already into their personality power dynamic role of their what is to be their sexual balance, because she is naturally likes to take care of him and finds him adorable and endearing, and not in a like infantilizing way, but in this way that like it fills this piece of her to take care of him, and he loves to kind of have guidance. And so through that 300 pages, that part's building. It's just kind of subtle stuff. So it makes sense that they kiss over vegetables.
Right. And she also craves control because she hasn't had any her whole life.
Yeah. Yeah. And she doesn't want to be dominated. So that's also why she's like, well, we're never going to have sex because these guys, all they want to do is dominate. And that's not me. And he's like, but I'm just a baby. I mean, I'm just a teddy bear. As you're picturing all this, his humanoid form that he wears mostly is like 7 foot tall. He has jet black skin with a greenish tint. He's kind of like green emerald dots around his face. He has little ears that have fronds.
Fronds that kind of move around based on how he's feeling.
Yeah, like sea anemone-ish. They're very reflective of his mood. He has talons. He has a tail that goes like halfway down his legs. He has a nice butt. And he has a man-ish body. So as they're hanging out, he's very strikingly not human.
Yeah, he seems to me like a lizard man, kind of, where it's humanoid. And then he's got another form that's just his human form, and they all take this on just to integrate themselves into human society. But their natural form is even more lizard-like. It's like a foot taller than that, and even stronger, and even better at gripping things with claws and talons and a long kind of snout.
Longer
Big
fang.
teeth. And
So,
she is in
yellow
no
eyes.
way concerned or scared.
She thinks he's beautiful.
Yeah, she thinks he's super hot. At one point, when she first sees him at the compound, because of course she's like annoyed with him and thinks he's a perv for showing up, she's in her head thinking like, she's annoyed at how attractive he is
Yeah.
and how good looking.
Fine. I
How dare you?
guess he's good looking. And she has no idea that he's rife with insecurity. So that's kind of his character arc throughout this book, is what he walks through the actual door with, which is this debilitating fear, this totally incorrect sense of perspective of how he thinks the world sees him and how he sees himself. And then also just his social anxiety that kind of pressure cooks all of it.
So I enjoyed reading about their day-to-day life, and certainly for a low angst book, it was just low stakes. But at times I was uncomfortable because I felt like both of these two had some serious trauma and mental health issues that they needed help with. I was just kind of thinking like, "Oh my God, can you please just go to therapy?" Because he's got all this like major self-esteem problems from his ex-girlfriend. He smokes weed all the time. Like he works, he's a jeweler and he works from home and he's great at that and he
Yeah.
takes care of his responsibilities. But aside from that, all he does is
Watch
smoke
TV.
weed, watch TV, eat an incredible amount of food, and then compulsively order products from infomercials that he doesn't need. And these all, feel like behaviors where you're trying to fill a hole in your life and you're doing it with like external self medications in some way.
Yeah, it is not
It
healthy-ish.
didn't feel healthy, and at times, and it was realistic to the point where I was uncomfortable. I was like, "Man, Gried, you deserve better than this."
But she kind of helps him, like his room of shame where he hides all his infomercial purchases. She like helps
She does
take
help
it
him.
out and like makes the watching TV an interactive team event and has him eating food that they cook and eating vegetables. So it's like she doesn't try to change him, but he isn't as like rooted in this almost like unthinking compulsion.
Mhm. And then she's grown up in a cult, and it's almost glib at the beginning of the book, like, "Oh, yeah, I don't know how to use a phone. I've never seen the internet before." But then, "Oh, that old chestnut." But then later, it becomes clear, like, she's got some major issues from that. Like, she was abandoned by her family, and I felt really bad for her too and was wanting her to get some therapy or some kind of help to work through this trauma. And they had each other and they had a great relationship, but it did seem like there was a lot going on for these two.
and it all resolved around his mean ex-girlfriend. So she's like able to stand up, have her voice by standing up to the mean ex-girlfriend when the mean ex-girlfriend's shit talking.
Yeah, there was a scene where Beryl confronted the ex-girlfriend and
Agma.
really told her off.
Yeah, so that's kind of like the culminating event where she is empowered, but she has gotten a job and she's participating in making friends. But just really briefly, the part about the cult, it felt more like a society or a movement of people who are unhealthily obsessed with one concept, and a concept that they actually don't know anything about, which is sex with this other species, because they know it all wrong. So it's kind of this like, feels like celebrity obsession, adoration. I don't know. But cults are a lot scarier usually. And I just listened to this great podcast. It's called, there's a mouthful, Crimes, Conspiracy, Cults, and Murder. All the hot ones, by Chris Collins. And she's a comedian and she's really funny, but also is respectful of like the horrifying trauma these people go through. But also is like, cults, make it funny. But also, so I just listened to that. And then I was reading this. I'm like, I don't feel like this is a cult. But maybe it is. I don't know about all the cults.
It's more lighthearted than I would think an actual, your life is.
Yeah. And people went there because she kind of has this compassion because people went there because they were lost, you know, like a former corporate lawyer who wasn't happy. And so she went there. So it's like people looking for meaning, which probably is the reason most people go to cults. So speaking of sex cults, tell me about the sex. Nice segue.
So that was basically the entire second half of the book is just exploring their sexual dynamic. As I said, there wasn't a lot of plot in the book. It's just a character arc. And the first half is more slice of life. And the second half is them coming to an agreement and coming. So they never have penetrative sex.
And she's physically unable. That her formation of her vaginal canal is very small. So
yeah, she already knows that. And then, so she doesn't ever want to have penetrative sex. And then he knows from the get-go, like, oh, I could never do that with a human. I'd kill her.
Yeah.
So that kind of works out that they both have the same feeling. And that's fine with them because she likes
he wants
oral,
to be
he wants to be pegged. She likes being in control. Everything works out. So over time, they kind of figure out their dynamic and she gets really excited. She gets a phone and searches on the internet to figure out what does it mean to be a dom and what are, like, let's figure out a safe word and what are your boundaries. Yeah, his safe word is broccoli.
I've been waiting for this moment.
He dislikes vegetables so much. Like, obviously that word would never come up.
And he's like, I finally did have a safe word. Like, he's been dreaming of having someone dominate him and it just never was going to be a possibility. So she's a miracle. And the sex was really fun. Usually I'm kind of not as drawn to like the femdom. And she, Beryl didn't have any hardness to her. So it was this like really sexy, but warm. And she got so much joy out of managing his sexual experience. And it was, I don't know, it was really fun to read. It was different than anything I've read.
Very long, detailed scenes. Yeah, not boring. It was just so different. I mean, when you have an entire sex scene and at no point in time is there ever going to be penetration, that's different than most books.
Yeah.
She was really, both of them, into edging and kind of getting him close. And she would say things like, oh, you can't make any noise. And she was like firm in what she was saying, but it wasn't about like, or I'm going to punish you.
It was all praise. Like, I know you want to be a good boy for me. And he's like, I do. Oh my God.
Yeah.
He wants to so bad. He's stoked. So
there were quite a few sex scenes, and then he would go down on her often. He liked it. She liked it. At one point he did in his like monster form with his long snout, which, you know, that was working for her.
Yeah. New angles.
Bigger, spikier tongue.
Yeah. I think they sell that at some of the shops here in San Francisco.
And actually, some of the shops, one of her days when he was busy making his jewelry, she went to a demiurgus sex shop.
We need to have a field trip to the local shop for research.
Interesting. We could probably write that off on our taxes. So she goes and she gets a strap-on of this like monster dick, which I mean that, like, because it's from the monster, but it's big and it's got all these, like, spikes on it,
Yeah.
and their skin is thick enough that it can handle it. It's like a barbed penis. I don't
It like they kinda like come I kinda picture it like when you're leaving a parking garage
Oh,
and
yeah, for
you
sure.
can't
That's
reverse.
exactly what it is.
You are leaving or you're going in and you're staying in.
So that's a synthetic version of that is
Mhm.
what she pegged him with, and he was into it.
Yeah. Oh, he loved it.
Also, because of his anatomy and how huge his dick was and the shape of his snout or whatever else, while she was pegging him, she told him to suck his own dick, and he could, which
I know people who have tried that. I
huh.
don't think many people can, but I think some people can. It's probably like spine flexibility and then
Ooh.
length.
Yeah, no, that's like the perfect storm.
Don't let us know if you can do that.
Yeah, you
We
can keep that to
support
yourself.
you, but it's for your private
But
time.
that's a little tidbit in this book that I wasn't expecting.
No, that is fun. It's the circle of life. Well, so this was a really long book, but this episode's short and sweet. What are we going to read next week?
So continuing with this new segment of if you like this, then you like this.
Gee,
Yeah, the name maybe is still being
it's the best.
workshopped. So if you like this kind of friendly dom sub sexual relationship
Like
where
loving, caring.
it's more about praise and it's not a degradation type thing, which, some people like that. But if you like that style of the dom, then Deep End by Ali Hazelwood has got a similar feel to it.
Yes, and it's also male, female, contemporary, no magic, no monsters, but Lucas is the dom and Penny is the sub. So it's kind of a role gender reversal but it's that same feeling of this love and care and nurturing, but make it sexy.
Next time we'll get one of the dogs to join us again.
Oh yeah,
That would
that's
be our
really
goal.
why people watch this, let's be honest. Thanks for joining us. Happily ever after.
Goodbye, everyone.